Hello, I am Sarah. I'm an aspiring author. Welcome back to my channel, and welcoming myself back to my channel because it has been a while. I got sick at the end of December. That wasn't fun. And then January, I had planned to make a bunch of videos. I had planned to jump back into my current writing project, and then none of that happened. But I was trying to stay in a creative space. I was still reading books, still trying to stay immersed in stories, even if I wasn't feeling my own story at the time. I am feeling better about it now. I'll talk about that in a later video. Right now, let's just talk about books. Let's talk about uh, other folks' writing. And I read about 12 to 15 books a month, just depending. And that's not to shame anyone who reads less than that, who reads more than that. We all read as much as we can fit into our personal lifestyles, our personal schedules. This is just how much I can and how much I like to fit into a month. I am a weirdo who likes to plan out every single book I'm going to read throughout the year. This is not something I would recommend. It's just something I like to do. It's something that helps me. It kind of helps for me for my reading schedule to kind of feel like homework. I know homework is a bad word, but it's just to keep myself accountable. And so I know what I'm doing. I know what book I'm going to reach for. And of course, this isn't like a strict list. It's like if I'm in the mood to read something else, I'll shift things around, and yeah, things change. As to what I read, in general, because I'm constantly trying to play catch up on my TBR list, I'm reading a lot of older titles, going all the way back from like the 2000s to the 2010s, but I am also reading more recent titles because I like to stay up to date and seeing what's on trend and all that. Genre-wise, I am reading young adult and adult romance. I'm a very big romantic. I love all the lovey-dovey stuff. But I do go into different things. I really enjoy horror. I enjoy true crime, thrillers. I like nonfiction sometimes, so I'll dip my toe in other things. All right, that's enough rambling background. Let's get into the actual books. So, January 2026, I read 14 books, and there was a little bit of a theme. I really wanted to check out books written by Authortubers. I, of course, watch other Authortubers. I enjoy seeing their journeys, and it's been really cool seeing how many are getting published, whether it's self published or traditionally. And yeah, I just want to check out their work and support them. The first one I have here is Local Heavens by K.M. Fajardo. Such a beautiful, shiny cover. I love just looking at it. This is a cyberpunk retelling of The Great Gatsby. It takes place in New York City in the year 2075. And Nick Carraway is Filipino American. The writer, K.M. Fajardo, or Chris, on YouTube, she is Filipino Canadian. And before I got into this, I did have to read The Great Gatsby because I had not read it before. It was just not something I read in school, and outside of school, I don't really read classics. It's just not my thing. But I did want to read it just to get a better idea to go into this. And yeah, it was really cool to see this classic through a more futuristic lens. It really gave me the vibes of video games like Detroit Become Human and Stray. Just that really cool, bright, neon environment. There's also a very complicated bisexual love square involved here with the four main characters, and I was not mad at it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah, you did good with this, Chris. This was a really cool, awesome book. The next book was The Glass Witch by Lindsay Puckett, which was a middle grade fantasy about a 12-year-old witch who, with her mother, goes to her hometown, and she isn't quite in control of her powers, and she accidentally sets off this curse that has her and her mother trapped, and it has this dark force, this dark hunter coming after them, and she has to figure out how to break free from that. I loved Lindsay's writing. It was just so cute and so silly without being too juvenile. The voice of the main character, it just had a lot of personality. It was nice and easy to follow. And yeah, I don't really read middle grade. I never read middle grade, so it was fun to go into a story without like YA or adult drama. Like kids have their own drama, but it felt a little more, it's just kid things, you know? Kids going on adventures, in this case with the character's pet rabbit, and there's baking involved, there's cupcakes, there's beauty pageant, just good vibes all around. Next was 30, Flirty, and Forever Alone by Christine Riccio. This is a adult contemporary fantasy romance, and it is about a 30-year-old woman who she gets invited to a lot of weddings. She's just at that age where she's tired of being single. She's kind of given up on finding the right guy. And then she meets supposedly the perfect guy, only to find out that he lives across the country. So that sucks. And there is a bit of a fantasy twist in there, but it's not in the synopsis, so I won't spoil it. Christine is one of the OG booktubers, if not the OG booktuber. And I have been watching her for a long time. I started watching, I think, in like 2013 when she was first making like reaction videos to the Hunger Games movies and all that. And yeah, I love her. I love her personality. She eventually started writing books, starting out in YA, and this is her first adult romance. I have to say, I haven't loved any of her books. She has a very loud, wacky style, and her heroines are always eccentric. They're hot messes, and it kind of goes past relatable and kind of just gets to cringy, at least for me. But I mean, her books are always unique, and I do always really enjoy that fantasy twist that she throws in there. Even if sometimes it feels like it's not needed. In this case, I wasn't sure if it was needed, but I still had a good time with it. Next, Backhanded Compliments by Katie Chandler. Similar to the last book, this is an adult contemporary fantasy romance. It is about two tennis players who are rivals, and they are legit rivals. They actually hate each other. And in this world, there's the magical element of people knowing who their soulmates are. They'll get their soulmate's first name almost like tattooed or etched into their skin. It's a very interesting concept, and it really makes you think of like how you would go about your life if a name just shows up on your wrist and you're trying to find that person with that name. I liked the magical element and I liked the tennis element, but at times it didn't come together for me. Sometimes it felt like I was reading two separate stories. And the romance, I think going from the hate to the attraction to the love, it didn't flow as smoothly for me. But overall, it was still a very sweet, very cute romance. And then the last Authortube book was Snapshots of Sunlight by Abby Emmons. Emmons is pretty big in the Authortube side. She makes a lot of writing videos, how-tos, has live writing sessions. Very helpful. I've used a lot of her tips, used a lot of her videos. This book is YA Contemporary Romance. It is a collection of short stories, and it is the third book in her 100 Days of Sunlight series. So it follows the characters from 100 Days of Sunlight, Tessa and Weston. In the first book, Tessa was temporarily blind, and she got involved with this boy who was an amputee, but she didn't know that because she was blind. So that was a whole thing. In this short story collection, this is following all of that, and it really just follows them in some typical high school experiences. They get their first jobs, they take classes, they go to prom together, and there's one story where they solve a mystery. So a variety of stories. They're all pretty different. They're all cute. I really enjoy this couple. I think they're adorable together. The main thing that has always bothered me with these characters, with book 1, 2, and now this one, is just that they have such trouble communicating. it's part of their dynamic in that they fight a lot. They have a grumpy sunshine dynamic, but like with this book, it's 2 years later. They're 18 years old, so it's just like, come on, guys, you need to learn from your mistakes. The version I got was an ARC, so thank you very much, Abby, for sending me an advance copy. This book will come out February 24th, and I have also learned that she is planning a 4th book, so I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so those were all the Authortube books that I read. There are so many more coming, and I do have some written down just to let you guys know. Some upcoming books are Just Friends by Haley Pham, Thanks for Watching by Kate Kavanaugh, Theodora's Tea Shop by Christy Ann Jones, Moth's Blood by Lynn D. Jung, and A Rogue's Guide to Winning a Wife by Meredith E. Phillips. So check out all those books, check out all those Authortubers or content creators. I'm sure they would really appreciate your support. Now going into the other books I read, this one was also an ARC, Love Me Tomorrow by Emiko Jean. And Emiko Jean also wrote Tokyo Ever After, which I really enjoyed. This one was about a girl who gets a letter from the future from someone telling her that they're their true love. And so she has a couple of guys in her life, and she's trying to figure out who this person is. And there's a lot going on because she starts having feelings for this one guy, but then this other guy is like her dreamy classmate crush. And then there's this other guy who, oh, but what about him? And it's just, it's a lot to keep track of. I think once we settle into the main love line, that's when things really start coming together. And that's when I started swooning quite a lot. I really loved it. And the way it all came together in the end, especially with the epilogue, which was a big surprise, it was so satisfying. It was almost 5 stars for me. It was just the first half was a lot to take. So it was a 4.5 for me. Still so fun, so cute. The next book, also an ARC, was They Call Her Regret by Chanel Desamore. And I read Chanel's debut, Needy Little Things, a really cool contemporary fantasy thriller. And then this one is about a girl who, her best friend dies in a tragic accident, and a witch approaches her, giving her this deal. The witch will bring her best friend back to life, but she has to find a way to free the witch, otherwise her friend will die again, and she'll have to kill her friend herself. I love horror. I love witchy things. I love cursey things. This was right up my alley. I think I might have even loved this more than Needy Little Things. And there was a romance in there, so I love my romance. Next, as I mentioned, I read The Great Gatsby by the great F. Scott Fitzgerald. And I kind of preferred Local Heavens. Yeah, like I said, I'm just not really a classics reader, but I am glad I read this just because it is a classic and to prepare myself for Local Heavens. I think personally I can get a better grasp and a better understanding of classics if I watch the film version. Like, I'm thinking that's what happened with Pride and Prejudice. So I am considering watching the film with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire. Next, taking a detour into manga, I read volumes 3 and 4 of A Sign of Affection. These are very chunky editions. And I first discovered this seeing the anime, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. The art with the manga is absolutely beautiful, equally. It is about a deaf college student who meets this guy who is very interested in travel and learning different languages. He gets very interested in sign language, very interested in her, and it sets off into a sweet slice of life romance. Volumes 3 and 4 were vital in that the couple starts to date, and it's very interesting how nonchalant it is. The love interest, the male love interest, is very nonchalant in general. He's quite an enigma, and very much like the silent, cool, not exactly stoic because he's like nice, but just kind of this cool, mysterious character. But now that we're 4 volumes in, I feel like I don't really know him yet. I get why our heroine is always swooning, because he is swoony, but it's like, what is he past that? What is he past that cool exterior? I'm not sure yet, so hoping we see more of him now that they're actually dating. Next was, this was a rough one. All My Rage by Sabat Here. This is a YA contemporary coming-of-age novel. It follows 2 Pakistani-American teenagers. They're best friends, but there's a bit of tension there because there are romantic feelings. They both have rough home lives. They both have traumas. And as they start having a romantic relationship, something happens that just implodes. And yeah, this was a rough one to get through, and there's a reason why it's called All My Rage. I felt all the rage, all the anger. I wanted to put this book down multiple times, but I loved these characters so much, and I wanted the best for them, so I wanted to get to the ending and get to a better place. And I will say that the ending did feel like relief and like a breath of fresh air after everything that happened. It's an intense book. These next 2 books are middle grade. I read them around the same time I read The Glass Witch. The first is Blood in the Water by Tiffany D. Jackson. She's well known for doing crime, thriller / horror stories. I believe this was her middle grade debut. It's about a girl who goes on this vacation and she meets this older guy who dies, and there's a mystery surrounding that. You know, being a 12-year-old, you want to solve the mystery yourself. And I think this felt a little mature in story and in writing, I guess just because she's used to writing YA. But it did feel older to me, almost like the characters were 14 rather than 12. Still good. I love all of Tiffany's books. I am on a mission to finish all of Tiffany's books. Maybe I'll be able to do that this year. I haven't read The Scammer, which is her latest, and then her first two, Allegedly and Monday is Not Coming. I'll have to get on that. Next, middle grade book, Gigi Shin is Not a Nerd by Lila Lee. I have read Lila's YA books, and she's also written elementary school level books. I think this is her first middle grade story. And the character Gigi Shin is a cute 12-year-old artist who wants to get into this New York art program. So she and her friends start tutoring kids to make money for that program. It's innocent, slice of life, low stakes in that it doesn't involve murder or like witch curses or anything like that. For a 12-year-old, they're pretty high stakes. And I enjoyed this, and I think she's going to write more of Gigi. I'm looking forward to that. I will say, with Blood in the Water, where the story felt a little older, I would say Gigi Shin felt a little younger. She felt 10 instead of 12. But, I mean, I don't really remember those years of my life, so I guess 10 to 12, can't really tell the difference there. Last but not least, I read Punching the Air by A.B. Zaboy and Yusef Salam. This is a YA novel in verse. Very well done. Yusef Salam is an activist, and he was a part of the Exonerated Five. If you don't know, they were 5 people who were wrongly convicted of a crime. They were treated terribly by the police. They went to prison. And yeah, this book is based off of his experiences. This is very much a fictional story. It's just inspired by the experiences. And these books are always tough to read. Injustice makes my blood boil, whether it's people who are wrongly convicted of a crime or people who get away with crimes. It's maddening. Not fun to read about, but I think certain topics, even if they're not fun, they are important to read. This one, I listened to the audiobook. It was very well done. Listening to novels in verse it's an experience. I would highly recommend it. Okay, that's everything. Those are my January reads. I am in the middle of my February reads right now. For Valentine's Day, I am reading a bunch of romance, which, I mean, I always read romance, so nothing different there. And I'm also reading some books for Black History Month. I can't wait to share those with you guys. Please let me know what you guys read in January, what you hope to read in February. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.